Greetings, boils and ghouls. Welcome back to Midnight Movie Massacre. So it's been a little while since we did a straight horror review. It's time we changed that. So today we're going to be cracking into some Hong Kong hijinks courtesy of Herman Yau with the Untold story. This is one of the very first, if not like the first, Asian shocker that I specifically sought out to add to the collection because I'd heard good things about it. Don't remember who recommended it to me, but I'm certainly glad that they did. It's a deliciously twisted little movie, pun intended, and without wasting any more time, we're going to jump right into it. The Untold Story, or more accurately, Eight Immortals Restaurant, The Untold Story, was directed by Herman Yau, produced by Danny Lee, written by La Kam Fei and Sammy Lau, and it stars Anthony Wong and Danny Lee, among others. It was distributed by Newport Entertainment, and it was released on the 13th of May, 1993. Now, I'm not sure if that's its Hong Kong release date or its international release date. Make of that what you will. The story concerns a group of detectives that are investigating some body parts that washed ashore in Macau. Their investigation eventually leads them to Wang Shihan, proprietor of the Eight Immortals restaurant, home of some super delicious pork buns that end up becoming a pretty huge centerpiece to the story here on account of what he's using as the special ingredients. The reason Wang Shihan becomes a person of interest is it just so happens that on the side of this murder investigation, the parents of the previous owners of Eight Immortals restaurant have requested that the police look into the whereabouts of their son and his wife and all of their kids. They've been writing letters to the police, urging them to, look into this, which they're hesitant about at first until, if memory serves, they identify the body on the beach as one of these missing people. So they head on down to Eight Immortals restaurant, kind of question Wang Shihan. At first he doesn't seem too suspicious, so they get themselves some pork buns and they go on their merry way. Pretty quickly though, they realize that, this family went missing, this dude doesn't have a proper title to this restaurant, and then several other people, like his waiter or his hostess, both go missing as well. You don't gotta be Sherlock fucking Holmes to realize that this dude running a restaurant without the proper paperwork, whose previous owners have been missing and presumed or turned up dead, who also has all these other people disappearing around him, probably is up to something pretty sinister. Wang Shihan himself pretty quickly realizes that they're onto his ass, as you would expect. He tries to make his escape, and it pretty much plays out like any true crime serial killer flick that you've seen in the past. They end up catching his ass, going to some pretty insane lengths to interrogate him, even at one point throwing him into prison with the cousin of the dude he murdered to obtain this restaurant, in hopes that they will torment him and kick the living shit out of him to the point where he'll eventually confess just to get away from them. Old Wang Shihan's a tough nut to fucking crack though, let me tell you. And after some straight up war crime level interrogation shit, he eventually breaks and tells them the whole horrifying tale. Pork buns and all, and let me tell you, their reaction is pretty authentic. I imagine finding out that you're accidentally a cannibal would make anybody sick to their stomach. As I said though, this movie hits a lot of the same beats that your standard true crime serial killer tales tend to hit. What makes it special is Anthony Wong's absolutely bone-chilling performance. The fact that the movie somehow manages to pull off being completely mean-spirited as fuck, but still having like a sense of humor about it at the same time, which definitely makes it somewhat easier to take. They do an impeccable job of not only making you hate Tony Wong's character and realize that like he's an absolute scumbag piece of sadistic shit, but then flip it around at the end and somehow dehumanize him to the point where you feel kind of bad for the villain, which is not an easy thing to pull off, and they pull it off pretty much perfectly. You could be forgiven for assuming that this is supposed to be like some absurd little Chinese splatter movie that's shocking just for the sake of being shocking and doesn't really have a narrative that goes anywhere or build any like real suspense or dread. And you would be pleased to find that you were wrong, because The Untold Story definitely stands up on its own next to any other like classic true crime shocker. It's a lot more than it seems like it would be on paper, full of great performances. The concept alone is bone-chilling enough to build an entire movie around, and the fact that it's based on a real-life case just adds another layer of gruesome fun to this poo-poo platter of fucking delicious grotesquerie. As far as other high points go, the special effects are actually pretty amazing with what they had to work with, and the soundtrack fucking bangs. It absolutely fits the movie perfectly. Really does a good job of like adding to that sense of dread, that sort of anxiety of what you might see next and all that kind of stuff. So I can't say enough good stuff about the soundtrack for sure. And at the end of the day, no matter what you take away from this movie, I can assure you of one thing, and that's that you will never, ever look at a pair of chopsticks the same way again. I don't even care if there's fucking humans in them though. Those pork buns look delicious, and as long as I didn't know what was in the filling, I don't think I would have any complaints. I don't really know what else there is to say about this sumbitch. If you like Asian horror films, if you like truly disturbing, like, true crime, serial killer type flicks, and if you enjoy a bit of Asian humor thrown in the mix with all of that, you just can't go wrong with this. Herman Yau's other movies like Ebola Syndrome and Taxi Hunter are pretty crazy too. I think all of those star Tony Leung in them as well, so if you want more of this stuff, there is more of this kind of stuff from the same dudes. In terms of this release, it's pretty fucking rad. Not a ton of special features, but, you know, there is some trailers for other movies that I actually still need to check out. And the menu looks like a Chinese restaurant menu, so that's pretty fucking badass too. That's all we got on this today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I know I sure have. We'll see you guys back here real soon.